All in Sports Network. We love sports.
Coming to you from the land of brisket and barbecue, Lone Stars and Longhorns, this is All In Colts presented by the Unstable Blues.
Welcome back in. This episode, we will preview the Colts' trip to Lambeau to take on the Loveless Packers. We will discuss our keys to the game, matchups to watch, and our all-in player to watch. So, let's go. All In Colts.
I'm Kevin. This is my son, Liam. We're the Unstable Blues. Happy to present All In Colts as part of the Rogue Media Sports Network.
In some ways, the absence of Jordan Love is huge, but the rest of the team and the weapons are still there. I mean, it's not just Jordan Love doing stuff on the Packers. It's Jordan Love too. Everyone.
Yep.
I don't even know who the running back is. Is it Dalvin Cook?
No, it's Jacobs. Josh Jacobs. Remember?
That's right.
And
Josh
Jones
Jacobs
went to the rival in the Vikings, and now
yeah.
And he's wearing Dalvin Cook's old number 33. It's
weird.
It's weird for the first several weeks, and then just as finally it's time to get used to it. Season's about over, and then you got to adjust to everything next year too.
Exactly.
All right, so going into it, what are your keys to the game?
My keys to the game. Okay. I think both of these teams are relatively young teams. I think that my keys would be who has the most experience as a younger team. I would say we have a better head coach than they would, but I don't know if that's a little biased. I think both head coaches are very talented at what they do. I think we need our defense to perform well. I did not forget, just kind of saving it a little bit later. Run the ball. Keep running the ball. Man, I need to get a t-shirt that says this.
That's true. I think we need t-shirts for both of our weekly keys to the game, because it's pretty much the same.
Yep.
I snuck mine a little bit later too.
Yeah. So run the ball and keep running the ball. Let JT do what he does best.
Because against Houston, the only thing they didn't do is keep running the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah.
And then they ran the ball after the blocked punt, and they got a touchdown.
Yep.
They ran the ball with AR. They got a touchdown.
Yeah.
We are a very balanced offense. Yes, we have AR who can launch it, but we also have JT, a top 5 running back in the league. So, I am not scared of our offense performing. I think we have exactly what we need to do to perform against the Packers defense. And yes, Jair Alexander will be a problem, but that is for the matchups to watch.
Yep. All right. I had a lot of keys to this game here. First off, these are two offensive coaches. Yes. So in my opinion, this is a perfect Shane Steichen mantra game. Throw to score, run to win. I think this game and this matchup plays up perfectly for this type of scenario and outlook to be the case. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it's true. The Packers are loveless. Okay? So if I were the coaching staff, I would have put this sign up everywhere in the building. Do not miss the opportunity. Capitalize. I would have put that all over the building this week, because anytime it's like, okay, you know how if a cornerback goes down, right, in a game and they put in a backup for a play because they have to take him off the field, what do the best quarterbacks in the league do?
Target that corner.
Yep. This is the case for the entire game. You took out tied for the highest paid quarterback in the league up until Dak Prescott, and the Cowboys did a stupid thing and signed him a deal.
Quick question.
But, yes.
Do you think Jordan Love is worth that money?
I think they're giant question marks. I think there are giant question marks with him and giant question marks with Trevor Lawrence.
Hey.
I don't think either one of them should have been signed at this point, especially because, well, you had to do something with Love because he was on his last year of his rookie deal. It just so happened that the way that the Packers do this, that it fell after he only had 1 year. And even that, he ended strong, but it wasn't like the whole year was like a CJ Stroud kind of year, right? So that would be the mantra all over the building. Capitalize on this opportunity. This is the opportunity, right? Do not miss it. Don't get overhyped about it, but don't miss it. Okay? Protect the ball. Take the ball.
There we go.
I mean, we talked about it in our unstable pick 6. Every single one of the games that we picked, only one of them was a team able to overcome the turnover battle. It just so happened that it was against the team that the Colts are going to play this week.
Mm-hmm.
The Packers were the only team that was associated with our picks who won the turnover battle and did not win the game. Imagine
won the turnover battle by 2 as well.
Right. Imagine how much more of an influence it can have if the other team on the other side of the ball can actually protect the ball and take the ball and win that turnover battle.
Yeah.
With this in mind, okay, stop Josh Jacobs. That is number one priority with Malik Willis, a quarterback, because you got to think with Malik Willis, they're going to want to exploit Josh Jacobs, right?
Yeah.
Make them one-dimensional. Make Willis sit in the pocket and throw the ball, because he has shown, at least up until, he's only been with the Packers for a couple weeks, maybe. He's shown throughout his career he cannot do that. He is inaccurate. The only way that Willis makes things happen is being creative and things like that. If you make him sit in the pocket and throw the ball, it's not going to be as successful. And one sure way to do that is stop the running game, because then they have to play from behind, theoretically.
Yep.
With that said, watch the edge rushes, watch the screens, watch the real routes, watch the jet sweeps. That's going to be another big one, because the advantage here is Josh Jacobs is more of a north-south runner than anything else, which means in order to use their other weapons like Christian Watson, who else? Romeo Dobbs, right? Some of their other weapons, they're going to run jet sweeps to try to free them up and get off the edge, because the Colts have shown a weakness now on tape. And people are going to continue to run the edge rushes and those things until the Colts can prove that they can run east to west and stop that stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Red zone defense was fairly successful last week against Houston. Held them to field goals. The bend don't break that we talked about. Keep that up. Make sure your red zone defense is on point. And then some Willis-specific things. Pressure up the middle in his face. This would be the plan even if there was Love back there. But now you're going to get pressure in his face, and then he's going to try to get the ball out quick to some of his speedy receivers, right? If your quarterback is not as much of a threat, you try to get it out of his hands real quick. So now get pressure, get your hands up, right?
Yeah.
Block those passing lanes, get those knockdowns and things like that. That's going to be huge. And then the last thing with Willis is just watch his escapability, right? Don't have our edge guys go too far up the field where all of a sudden he can escape out a hole. Watch that, because that's where he's probably most dangerous, where, he's getting creative. He's not thinking as much, and he's allowing his receivers who are young and speedy to get open.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Eliminate the penalties. Yes, we are a young team, but I think they are even younger. So let them make the mistakes, right?
Gotcha.
Don't make stupid mistakes, pre-snap penalties, post-snap, extracurriculars, anything like that. Let them make the mistakes.
Agreed. Yeah.
They are dangerously fast, so keep everything in front, right? This might be a scenario where you have someone like Rodney Thomas in there more often because he's more of a deep center fielder, right?
Yeah.
With the speed they have, just keep them in front, okay? Defensively, you got to think that they got to think that they got us because they just went toe-to-toe with the Eagles, who have Hurts, Saquon, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and they just barely lost. But just like we've been saying all offseason, they just don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So let them think that they have it. Let their defense over pursue. But they are opportunistic. Okay. They did create 3 turnovers against the Eagles. One of those, bad snap, maybe a couple bad reads, but we have a red shirt rookie quarterback who could have some bad reads too. So the other thing they like to do is bring slot corner blitzes.
Gotcha.
So that opens up opportunities for hot routes, especially in the slot. And this is why I think Josh First Downs coming back, if he can be back, is such a big deal.
Shane thinks where the blitz came from.
Right. Shane thinks so as well. Take a look at this.
Obviously, he does a great job in our intermediate concepts, and obviously he's hit some big ones like he did last year, but he's a hell of a football player. So hopefully he's good to go this week, and it'll definitely help us move forward for sure.
So it's important. Josh First Downs coming back. Don't want to rush it. Want to make sure he can sustain it long term. But if he can be back, that's a big opportunities. Even though their safeties are good, they are susceptible to big shot passes. We saw it against the Eagles, and we saw that the Colts can take those opportunities. And, there's not a whole lot of defense can do about some of those passes.
Yeah.
But then guess what? Those big plays open up the run game. So I honestly would not be too shocked with Shane, knowing how he does things, that he actually put a lot of those deep shots on film on purpose, just to scare people, just to frighten people, just to move the safeties out of the box so that there's more running lanes moving forward.
Yeah.
Because we've said all the way along, how are you going to take your pick? How are you going to take your pick? You stop the run, then you got the big arm. If you stop the big arm, there's 2 dynamic runners in the backfield.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right. So after my long rant here, what are your matchups to watch here?
I think a big one is Jalen Jones versus Christian Watson, our number 1 corner versus their number 1 receiver. I think another one that a lot of people don't think of is Kenny Moore and Jaden Reed, because Jaden Reed just had a big week.
Yep. See, I had Blackman versus Reed.
Gotcha.
And I think same reasoning, right? But I think Reed can be either inside or outside. And so that's why I was thinking Blackman, just like I said, keep everything in front.
Yeah. Kind of piggybacking off of what you just said, whether it be Jaden Reed or Romeo Doubs in the slot, one of them has to be in the slot. So whoever Kenny has, I need Kenny to lock him up, because that limits their options. And then Big Grove and Buck against Josh Jacobs. Obviously, like we talked about, they're going to try to be one-dimensional with Josh Jacobs and just use him, especially since we just got obliterated with the run this past week. And then my last one is the defensive edges. Well, second to last one is defensive edges. Last one for defense. Defensive edges and against Malik Willis with containing him in the pocket. And then I got like 2 on offense. 1, Jonathan Taylor against the defensive line / linebackers, just being able to get to that second, third level. I think you get into that third level, he's pretty much gone. So, and then obviously, I think I kind of hit on it a little bit in my keys to the game, but MPJ versus Jair Alexander. We talked about it in yesterday's episode about fantasy, about MPJ being consistent. I think he can be consistent even against the best corners in the league. I just hope he proves me right this week. And then the last one, kind of what you said about the offensive mind coaches, Shane versus Matt LaFleur. Who has the better scheme versus the opposing defense?
All right. I like it. I threw in Dallas Flowers versus Romeo Doubs, and I have question marks about both Jalen Jones and Dallas Flowers, where they're going to be, who they're going to be matched up against. Will they just stay, since we don't necessarily, maybe even before Brents was down, but definitely now have a true number one? Do they just stay on the side of the field they're most comfortable with? And so Jalen Jones, Dallas Flowers, Kenny Moore versus Christian Watson, Romeo Doubs, Jaden Reed. Like,
gotcha.
That's kind of where it is, right? It's the grouping versus the grouping. And it may take a village to bring those guys down if Willis can get the ball out. And so, but then another one I throw in on defense is always got to watch the tight end. And Luke Musgrave is a sneaky good tight end. And when you have a young, inexperienced quarterback who might need to get the ball out quick to the flat, it's either the running back or it's the tight end.
Yep.
And so that Kenny Moore, Julian Blackman, EJ Speed rotation, somebody needs to make sure they account always for Luke Musgrave in some way, right?
Agreed.
Because you don't want him sneaking out and, being able to have a play stopped, and all of a sudden you get 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, something like that. Out of something that shouldn't have been just because he found some space in his own somewhere. Don't give him space.
Yep.
And then I went way more specific on with JT, and I said JT versus Quay Walker.
Okay.
Quay Walker's good. He can get different places. He's kind of the Colts version or the Packers version of the Colts Zaire Franklin, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. The running back relies on the offensive line to get through the first level, right?
Yep.
And then the second level is sort of a blend between, can your offensive line get off the blocks and get there, right? Or are you going to have to take care of it? And let's just assume you're going to have to take care of it, right? Rely on your offensive line. So if you get tackled at the line of scrimmage, it's not your fault, right? Line didn't block. If you get tackled at the second level, that's your fault. You got to be able to do that, right? You got to be more darty at the second level and more speedy at the third level. And so, hopefully I'm right in that.
You are.
Okay. So,
I wasn't necessarily darty myself. I was just kind of like, I don't know.
You were shifty.
I don't know if I would, not this past season necessarily though. I was taught to be more of a hit them with your shoulder type of running back.
Yeah.
But that wouldn't let me get to the third level.
Yeah.
So,
JT always talks about being skinny through the hole, getting those feet up, right? That's the only thing he can do there, right? Hit the hole, skinny, and then make sure nobody trips you up. After that, he has to do what he did against the Patriots in 21, where he's just like, boom, boom, and make one cut and embarrass people and off to the races. So That's why I went more specific on that second level, because I think that's more where the individual matchup will be, is JT versus Quay Walker. And then I also had Pitt versus Alexander, but I'm also going to say AR's deep shots versus Javon Bullard and Xavier McKinney.
Okay. I'd imagine
The
those are the
safeties.
safeties.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Bullard being a rookie, but being a good rookie, one that the Colts were even thought of to be looking at some point.
Mhm.
Xavier McKinney coming over from the Giants with a lot of experience and really good at his job. And so what do those deep shots, what do AR's eyes look off in that scenario to free those things up?
Yeah.
And then my last matchup to watch, and I'm going to keep doing this every single week until it's fixed or it's fired, is Gus Bradley versus Adam Stenovich. Gus Bradley, obviously the defensive coordinator, and so that would mean Adam Stenovich is the offensive coordinator for the Packers. And let's face it, the Packers are loveless, which is, as we said, an advantage, but it's can be somewhat of a disadvantage if you don't have enough film on the backup. And the only film you have on the backup is with another team in another scheme. So this week, as far as QB prep, is challenging because you don't really have a lot to go on.
Yep.
You have theoretical concepts that you know LaFleur runs, but LaFleur has only really been with established QBs, whether he's head coach, offensive coordinator, QB. He's never had this kind of scenario that I can really think of offhand. Might be totally wrong about that. But, I mean, because he was with Washington and they had Cousins. He was with and then he went straight to the Packers, I believe. It might have been another stop in there.
And they've had an established quarterback for a long time. So
right.
Yeah.
All right.
The only film you have on Malik Willis is him getting sacked on a Hail Mary.
Right. Well, yeah, with the Packers for sure.
Yeah, with the Packers.
And in a no-win situation, obviously. But yeah, and preseason stuff that doesn't even really count. And a few things last year with the Titans, but like I said, it's entirely different, right? So you're almost not even really paying attention to that. You're really paying attention to what you think LaFleur is going to do in this scenario with that.
Yeah.
Gus Bradley need you to show up and blitz him, get some pressure in his face, and keep him contained at the same time. Gus Bradley, do what you did against Patrick Mahomes week 3 of 22, and everything will be fine. Everything will be just fine. Yeah. You're all in player to watch then. I got a few of them, so you take your pick, and I'll have variety. I promise.
Hold on, there's a cricket here. I need to get it.
Oh, cricket!
I know.
It's okay.
I can't hear you right now, but I'm just gonna explain it real quick. It's cricket season in UMHB.
Oh,
in like Belton area,
everywhere in
or
Texas.
I think it's everywhere. Just cricket season.
Yeah.
So there's been a ton of crickets that I've just had to kill in our dorm. So it's gonna be loud real quick.
Do it. Did you get it?
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah. All right.
There you go. Okay, I'll clean it up after this episode.
Man, okay. Your youngest brother would be so upset you just killed nature, man.
Oh yeah, I just killed nature. I'm
He's
sorry,
a nature lover.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, all in player. I think it would have to be. I think JT is definitely a close second, just because if he's going, I don't think there's something that our offense can't do. But I think it's going to have to be Pitt. I think if he can get things going more so than JT, our offense is very versatile in what it can do, especially if you can get it going against top corner in Jair Alexander.
All right. Well, you didn't do me any favors because I still got 3 options. You referenced one of them, and I thought you would go this direction. Okay, if Josh First Downs is back, just to clear this up, we keep calling him Josh First Downs, and maybe we didn't explain this. So he's Josh Downs, but then he kept, like, at the beginning of last season, his rookie season, it seems like every pass that he caught was a first down.
Mm-hmm.
And so I did some digging, and I can neither confirm nor deny that his middle name is actually First. And so until proven otherwise, his name is Josh First Downs, which then means we get to initial it JFD, which sounds like, in the pop culture world, sounds like we're dropping some bombs, but we're not. It's First, Josh First Downs. Yeah. So if he's back, he's going to play a big role. If he doesn't, then there's going to be some opportunities for Kylan Granson. But it all is going to run through Jonathan Taylor, I believe. The way that Jonathan Taylor goes, especially seeing what Saquon did against the Packers, the way JT goes is the way the team's going to go. So I think that's where it's at.
Yeah.
Prediction time. We didn't do this last week. We forgot, but we're back at it. Here we go. I need the winner and the score.
The winner and the score. Colts are going to bounce back off of week 1 loss. They're going to get it done in Lambeau. The score will be 24-13.
All right. I am going to say, this is crazy. I had already written this down. I also have the Colts winning, bouncing back, and the final score of 27-16. The same exact distance, just a few more points scored in mine for both teams. One more field goal each for our teams. So, I mean, it's like we're professionals, like we do this all the time or something. Yeah. Who would have guessed, and who would have known we'd be really good at this kind of stuff? Well, that's it for this week. We will be back next week where we will recap the Packers game, preview the Bears going to the Loud House, as well as other shenanigans in the update from the South, Fantasy Stable, and the Unstable Pick 6.
This is Liam.
And this is Kevin.
Reminding you to stay all in Colts.
All in Sports Network. We love sports.